Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a guide for Byzantium for EU4 1.34 Lions of the North. So Byzantium is a nation located in the Balkans, and as we all know, it's a very powerful nation historically, but in real life, it's about to fall to the Ottomans in a couple of years. Of course, Byzantium is one of the player favorite starts in the game, one of the most popular and one of the most beloved nations, but that doesn't change the fact that they have one of the most difficult starts in the game. But by using this guide, you will be able to beat the Ottomans and then crush them in no time and expand all over the Balkans and Anatolia before going on to reconquer the Eastern Roman Empire borders, or maybe even going on to restore the Roman Empire and mending the schism between the Catholics and the Orthodox Christians. And before we begin, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, it really helps out a lot. And if you enjoy this video and want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 100k subs before New Year's, and maybe with your support, we can do it. Let's take a look at what we need to do as Byzantium. Alright, here we are as Byzantium, and as you all know, right at the start, we are gonna right click on our nation and go into our estates to do the estate setup before moving on with anything else. First, we're gonna summon the Diet. You can pick whichever agenda is best for you or the easiest for you to accomplish. Then we're gonna give the clergy religious state, clerical advisory council, expansionist zealotry, and religious diplomats. Then we're gonna give the nobles primacy of the nobility, increased levies, and aristocratic councilors. And then we're gonna give the burghers land of commerce, patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, and indebted to the burghers. Then we're gonna seize land. Next, we're gonna go into our advisors and check and see if we have a diplorep or improved relations guy. You should hire a diplorep guy even if he's a level 2 guy, and if there's no diplorep guy, you should hire an improved relations guy even if he's a level 2 one. I do have a level 1 diplorep advisor, so I am gonna hire him. Next, we're gonna take our fleet right here, press G to merge it, and take our main army down to this province right here. Additionally, we're also going to construct 3 more infantry regiments, here, here, and here. And we're going to give our ruler and heir military command. But whichever one is better in charge of this army, preferably the heir, because he's not very good. The ruler isn't that good either, but we will want to have him at least for the first war. Next, we're going to go into the trade map mode and tell the guy that's transferring from Aleppo to Constantinople to actually go and collect from Constantinople. And now we're waiting for this army to get here and this diplomat to get there. During this point, you should check and see if you can ally any of Albania or the Knights. In my case right here, I can't immediately ally any of them, so I'll start improving relations with them. If you also can't ally them right off the bat, start improving relations with them. And you should right click on the Ottomans, go right here, and set your attitude towards them as threatened. At this point, you can also delete the fort in Morea. And we're also going to take out a few more loans because we are going to want to start constructing 10 more galleys. So build 2 galleys in every province. There's 2 right there, 2 right there, 2 right there, 2 right there, and 2 right there. Yes, this will take us over naval force limit, but it's not a problem. Once it hits December 11th, and you are going to want to time it right on the day, you are going to immediately declare war on Epirus and hope that they haven't gotten any allies so far. In my case, they haven't, so this is perfect. So right on December 11th, if these guys don't have any allies, declare war on them for the reconquest of Arta. If they do have allies, you may want to consider restarting. And just before this war, you're going to want to check and see if you can perhaps rival them. In my case, I can't, but if you can, do it, and then declare. Now all you gotta do is siege down Arta. At this point, you can also tell Athens right here to be supportive and stick to your army. Once you get your army over here, make sure to keep your fleet docked. We don't want to fight Epirus's fleet. At this point, the merchant from Aleppo will have arrived in Constantinople, and you will want to tell him to hostile trade. This will increase the spine work that we're gonna build on the Ottomans. And at this point, we're also gonna start spying on the Ottomans. Once you siege down Arta, you will wait for a month to tick by so Epirus's war enthusiasm becomes low, and then it's time to peace them out. So just recall one diplomat that's been improving relations with Albania or the Knights, and this is our peace deal with Epirus. We're gonna take the province of Arta for ourselves, we're gonna make them our vassal. This is precisely the reason we didn't want to fight their navy, because we want their navy to basically become ours, and we want them to help us out. You can also force your religion on them if you want to take off the age objective for the Age of Reformation, although this isn't necessary. And then you should also take all of their money. And that's our first war done. Now we have 2 subjects, Epirus and Athens. And once again, we're going to tell Epirus to be supportive as well. At this point, still, don't set any other rivals. Once this war with Epirus is done, you may want to check and see if you can ally Albania or the Knights. In my case right here, I can ally Albania, and I will do that. And I can also ally the Knights, I'll do that as well. Now that you've allied both of these nations with the remaining free diplomats, with one, you should start improving relations with Epirus once you can, and with the other one, you should start improving relations with Hungary. Now it's time to take this army back to Constantinople. At this point, you should also start focusing on mill, and you can fire your Diplorep advisor and instead hire a mill advisor. You should get a morale, discipline, or fort defense mill guy. I don't have any of those, so I'm just gonna get this land maintenance discount guy. Once all of your ships have been built, take all of them to Constantinople. And once your fleet is there, we are gonna hire an admiral for it. Now at this point, the Ottomans should be preparing to declare on someone, and they probably won't declare on Serbia or Wallachia because, well, as we all know, they do have a truce with them, and they might consider us slightly too powerful to declare on us. So if everything is going according to plan, the Ottomans should be preparing to declare on one of Chandar, Karaman, Dulkadir, or Trebizond. In my case right here, I can see that they're stacking in the province of Bolu, which signifies to me that they're probably getting ready to declare on Chandar, and this is exactly what we want to happen. And let me be clear, there isn't a 100% chance that they'll declare on one of these guys, but in most of my trial runs, this is exactly what they did. So that is what we're waiting for, our boats to be built and for the Ottomans to declare on some of these guys right here. At this point, you can also check their alliances. If they're like the Tunis, that might make your war with them more annoying, even though it'll still be winnable, and this is one of the best alliance networks that they can have. Akuylu and a small guy. And there we go, just like clockwork, they did declare on Chandar just a few days after the previous clip. Now, if everything's been according to plan, you should have your boats built up by now. And now is when we'll also strike on the Ottomans. And in preparation for that, we are going to take out a bunch more loans and hire a bunch more mercenary companies. So take out as many loans as you need to. We won't be keeping around the mercs for that long, so you shouldn't be able to go bankrupt. And make sure to hire the free company and then 2 or 3 more mercenary companies, preferably with generals that have siege pips. In my case right here, I am pretty unlucky that none of my mercenary companies right here have leaders with a lot of siege pips. So I'm just gonna get the Armatoles right here, the Haiduks, and then the Levens as well. And once all mercenary companies have been recruited, make sure to attach the free company over to your main army and pull your fleet out in the Sea of Marmara. And before this war starts, we are gonna rival the Ottomans just like that, and it is time to declare on them. First, we're also gonna set these 2 provinces right here as provinces of interest, and then it's time to go and declare a reconquest for Gallipoli, just like that. Call in Albania and the Knights with the promise of land, and go ahead and start your war with the Ottomans. And we were waiting for them to declare on an Anatolian Beylik so we can trap their army in Anatolia. Our fleet is more powerful than theirs at this point in the game. So once you beat their fleet up over here, you can move to Gallipoli, just like that. And you should have crushed their fleet just like I did right here. Make sure to tell your subjects to attach as well. Allow attach just like that. And you can also bomb the fort in Gallipoli. If you're in a rush, you could also assault it, just like this. And just like that, in a matter of days, we've taken the fort in Gallipoli with minimal losses. Now, as we can see right here, the Ottomans are preoccupied with Chandar and Ramazan in my case. So if you're feeling bold, you can go ahead and do the same thing that we did to Gallipoli over in Kocaeli. If you're not feeling that bold, you can just move on to sieging down the rest of the Balkans. It's up to you. Since this is a guide for new-ish players, and I think more of you won't go to siege down Kocaeli, I'll move on directly to Salonik. Once again, we're gonna bomb and assault it, and then we're gonna move on to Edirne. So after you take this, go here, then here, then here. If you don't want to go here, just go here, here, and then here. And there we go. I'm also gonna bomb Salonik. Make sure to put your fleet back in the Sea of Marmara after you do bomb it though. And after assaulting Salonik, we've captured that as well. At this point, you can disband a lot of these mercenary companies so you don't go bankrupt. The reason we got so many of them is because we wanted to stack on these 2 or these 3 forts and make the Ottomans be scared of us. The larger our army is, the less they're gonna want to engage in battle. So that's the main reason we got so many mercenary companies. Better safe than sorry. After you take these 2 or these 3 forts, you can go ahead and disband a lot of them, mainly the expensive ones. And I am gonna disband the Levens, the Haiduks, and the Armatoles. I'm just gonna keep the main army and the free company. And at this point, you can go in a carpet siege. And you can also tell your subjects to siege instead of attach as well. As we can see at this point, the Ottomans have ended their war with Chandar, which means they will focus on me. And don't worry, that's completely normal. But because our navy is bigger and we control the straits in Marmara, they aren't able to cross. Sure, they might ask for mill access through a bunch of these guys so they can walk around, but it looks like in my case, that's not happening. And it is a rarity that they'll get access through all of these guys right here. I've only seen it happen once in one of my trial runs where they allied Crimea and Gazikumuk at the start. But with allies allies like Akuyunlu or Ramazan or Dulkadir or someone like that, they shouldn't be able to walk around. And once you've sieged down the entirety of the Balkans, if you're feeling strong enough and if you're feeling ballsy, you could simply rehire all the companies that we disbanded, or simply not fire them at all and go and fight the Ottomans. You should be able to beat them in battles if you got a morale or a discipline guy, and if you're a tech over them. As we can see in my case right here, we're both at tech 3. However, if you get the tech 4 faster than them, you can totally go ahead and engage them with a tech advantage. But if you're feeling like you want to chill and not get that stressed out and not lose that much money and manpower, all you can do is sit back, relax, and wait for the ticking war score to go up. With just the Balkans conquered and with their fleet beat up once, you should get to around 70-ish% war score, which is plenty in the first war. And by the way, this is my only try for this campaign. There has been no restarts or anything like that. So in my case right here, my strategy has worked with just one try. And you guys shouldn't really need to restart either in any scenario unless Epirus has gotten an ally on December 11th. But there really shouldn't be any need to restart or Alt F4 at any point in the war versus the Ottomans. So this is pretty much as foolproof as it gets. Of course, this game is RNG based, but it doesn't get any easier than this. At least I think so. At this point, you may be able to Royal Marry Hungary if you improve with them enough. In my case, I can't. But if you can't do it with Hungary, start improving relations with Austria. We should be able to get friendly with them pretty easily. Another nation that it is possible to ally after this first war would be Castile or Aragon. So you can also start improving relations with one of them as well. Of course, if you are engaging in battles with the Ottomans, make sure to allow friendly units to attach to your army so you can get Skanderbeg to stick to you. The reason we wanted Albania in this war is because of their navy and because of their general Skanderbeg, and the reason we wanted the knights in this war is once again for their navy. That's also why we vassalized Epirus instead of full annexing them, once again, their navy. And at this point right here, we have 26 galleys, whereas the Ottomans and Akuyunlu only have 3. Easy. Small tip right here to save a few ducats: any fort that you've occupied, you can transfer to your vassals, and then once you're ready to peace out, just transfer them back to yourself. By transferring these 2 forts, I think I'm saving around a ducat. And if you're just sitting like this and not fighting the Ottomans, you can totally go ahead and fire your mill advisor to save some more money. At this point, we're not at risk of bankrupting. At this point, after improving relations with Aragon and Austria and hiring a Diplorep advisor again, I was able to Royal Marry Aragon, and now I'm able to Royal Marry Austria as well. Once this war is done, we will be able to secure alliances with these nations, which will secure us defensively as well. These aren't the necessary nations that you can ally, but try to get someone like Hungary, Austria, Aragon, Castile, Poland, Lithuania. It is possible to get at least one of them. In my case, I'm doing pretty good with 2. Once you're close to ending your war with the Ottomans, start building a spy network on Serbia. When you can, white peace any Ottoman ally. I've received a white peace offer from Akuyunlu. I'll accept it. And there we go. 6 years after I started my war with the Ottomans, right now it's 1453, I am about to end it because I have reached max war score. Now, just by fighting one naval battle that gave me 0.45 war score, and by occupying the entirety of the Balkans, I have almost 80% war score versus the Ottomans. So there's no need to fight them. There's no need to try and go occupy Anatolia. All you can do is siege down the Balkans and put your army in Marmara, and you'll be good. And when piecing out the Ottomans in your first war, here's what you're gonna do. And this is assuming you have 80% war score just like me. What we are gonna do right here is take back all of these cores right here. So from Gallipoli to Yanya, we're also gonna take these 2 provinces up here, which we're gonna release Bulgaria from. Then we're gonna get war reps, and then even without occupying the fort in Kocaeli, we are gonna take the province of Kocaeli. Now I know what lots of you guys are thinking, why not take these 2 provinces as well? And I'll explain it because it's very simple. The first reason is they're not gonna move their capital from Edirne, so it's going to be very easy war score later when we fight them again once we occupy it. And we're not taking this province right here because if we took it, Bulgaria would get it when we release Bulgaria. And I know there's another strategy where you take these provinces right here, lock in these provinces, and then provoke Bulgarian separatists and make the Bulgarian separatists rise up so they just retake all of their cores without having to fight your war versus the Ottomans. But in my experience, that strategy is not that reliable. The Ottomans usually get mill access through someone and come and beat up their separatists. So that's why I'm not doing something like this and then making Bulgarian separatists pop out here. So first war with the Ottomans, take all of this in the Balkans and Kocaeli. Hey, Future Hawk here. As you can see right there, the Ottomans won't give me Kocaeli now, and this is because sometimes, depending on the order in which you click the provinces in, they won't give it to you. But as you can see right now, I simply unclick Kocaeli and then click it again, and they are willing to give it to me. So watch what happens when I continue the clip. along with war reps. Now, if you click on provinces in a certain way and then unclick them, you might not be able to take Coachella, but it should be possible. Just like that, as we can see right here, they will give us Coachella even though we haven't occupied it. However, if we try to get it in a different order, they might not give it to us. Either way, this is what we're gonna take, and then take as much money as you can. And that's our first war with the Ottomans done. Now, don't release Bulgaria just yet. First, we're gonna want to get a claim on this province right here because we've started spying on Serbia, and then we're gonna release Bulgaria. But now that our first war with the Ottomans is done, we will be able to take the mission Recover Greece, which gives us permaclaims on these provinces right here. Now it's time to chill for a bit and get ready for our second war, which is most likely gonna be versus Serbia. Once you take Coachella, you'll get this wonderful event where it gets renamed from Coachella to Optima Toy, but then it gets renamed again to Nicomedia. And if you have the Purple Phoenix DLC, you should also get 50 of each Monarch point. By taking some money from the Ottomans, I've managed to pay off most of my loans, and I'm now down to 6 loans. And after this war ends, don't worry if Albania or the Knights want to break their alliance with you, it doesn't matter. And after you've gotten 20 spy network on Serbia, make sure to claim Kosovo, and at this point, we can go ahead and release Bulgaria, and they'll pop out of these 2 provinces right here. They have cores on these provinces right there. And of course, because this war is over, now I can go ahead and find some bigger allies, and I can ally Austria just like that right off the bat. And with a little improving relations, I should be able to link with Aragon as well. Although it isn't necessary. If you get Austria, you're pretty much set. At this point, a few months have passed after I ended my war with the Ottomans. With army maintenance and forts down, I'm making money, and I've also managed to ally Aragon and Hungary. This is a little something what your game should look like as well. Now focus on paying off loans, recovering your manpower, and then we can go ahead and hit Serbia. However, in your game, you may also encounter something like this. Serbia, in my case, is guaranteed by the Ottomans. Now don't worry, this is not gonna be a problem. Once again, we're simply gonna blockade the strait right here, and we can just white piece the Ottomans and reset our long truce with them. So something like this, it isn't a problem at all. If they're not guaranteed by the Ottomans, even easier, no worries. At this point, since you'll probably have paid off your burgher loans, go ahead and take new burgher loans, since at this point they will be bigger, and you are gonna wanna buff up your navy even more. What I'm gonna do right here is build 5 more galleys, so I'm up to 20 once again. I guess some of them got destroyed, and I'm also gonna build some heavy ships as well, 3 to be precise. Of course, we didn't mention this at the start, but Byzantium has really good national ideas. We start off with minus 10% advisor discount, and we are gonna get even more once we build up the Parthenon right here. We also have Tolerance of the True Faith +3 and Yearly Prestige +1 as a finisher. Then we got some mercenary discounts, national manpower +10%, which is really good, along with +5% goods produced. I always love double ideas. Then we have +10% tax, minus 10% stab discount, global trade power +10%, +5% discipline, and +3% missionary strength. We also have a fairly decent mission tree, although it is part of the older mission trees, which mostly focus on conquest claims, conquest claims, conquest claims, and it's not one of the newer mission trees that are more dynamic, like the Teutonic Order or Sweden, for example. We are going to be following this mission tree loosely, although we do have some really powerful missions later down the line. Of course, once you've gotten Tech 4 in all categories, you will want to boost the spread of the Renaissance in your capital, Constantinople, a bit, at least up to 30. So go ahead and activate Encourage Development right here and develop Constantinople up to 30. And there we go, I just pushed it up to 30, 10, 10, 10 is pretty solid, and I've sped up the Renaissance a bit. Now that a few years have passed and I've cored up Coachella and I've built up my navy, it's time to move on with my second war, and you're gonna move on with your second war as well, which like I said is gonna be with Serbia. Now in my case right here, the Ottomans have actually cancelled their guarantee over Serbia. I did want to show that it is easy to beat the Ottomans, even if they guarantee someone, but you should already know that by now. And if the Ottomans did guarantee Serbia, what I would do is put my navy right here, siege everything down. Once you siege down their capital, they'll become sad, and you can just white piece them and reset your truce with them. So no need to worry if they guarantee anyone. However, if they don't, even better. What I'm gonna do right here now is declare on Serbia for the conquest of Kosovo, and make sure to co-belligerent anyone like Bosnia, Herzegovina, or Wallachia, or Albania if you can. I am gonna co-belligerent Bosnia. And that's your second war. You'll have no problems taking down any of these small Balkan guys just by yourself and with your 3 subjects by now. So that's your second war started. Like I said, if you're fighting the Ottomans, just white piece them. You'll be able to beat them easily. Be careful that they don't have an army here though. Look around for that before you declare the war. For your tier 2 government reform, you do have a couple of choices. The classic, strengthen noble privileges for manpower. You can also compromise with the nobility, so increased levies. This right here doesn't give them any influence, nor does it lower max absolutism or or you can also go with Noble Officer Corps for yearly army tradition and yearly army professionalism. Now, the argument against strengthened noble privileges here is that we already have manpower in one of our national ideas, and as patriarchal authority goes up and we gain manpower from true faith provinces, basically Orthodox provinces, our max manpower will be insane. So there isn't really a need for strengthened noble privileges, although you can still take it if you want to have even more manpower. So that's why I think compromise with the nobility or Noble Officer Corps is a little bit better. You can of course swap them around later if you want to, but in my case right here, I am gonna go with Noble Officer Corps. While you're fighting Serbia, start spying on one of Bosnia, Herzegovina, or Albania, whichever nation of those three you plan to fight after you're done with your war with Serbia. In my case, it's Herzegovina. They don't have any allies, and I am gonna border them, so I am gonna start spying on them. And when your war with Serbia is done, you are gonna full annex them. Of course, hopefully Venice or Hungary wouldn't have already fought them, and if you co-belligerented someone like Albania, Bosnia, or Herzegovina, you can go ahead and full annex them as well. In my case right here, I am gonna full annex Serbia and Bosnia. Don't worry about aggressive expansion. These are pretty much the only Orthodox nations we're gonna fight, so no one really cares. You can take as much money as you want to as well. And that's your second war done. You should have taken as much as you can from Serbia and their allies. The most important province in this war, of course, is the gold mine in Dardania right here, which after we core and state, we are going to focus on deving up to 10. Once you've wrapped up your war with Serbia, if you can, and if you have the opportunity to do so, take out the other small Balkan nations like Bosnia, Herzegovina, or even Albania if you can. Right now, the Ottomans are fighting Albania, so they'll be gone pretty soon. And by the way, I haven't declared on Venice, I'm just helping out Austria in their war. In my case right here, it's time to clean up Herzegovina. They don't have any allies, so I'll just declare on them. These are a few easy wars before our next war with the Ottomans, which will actually also be easy. Once you hit Admin Tech 5, it will be time for your first idea group, and for your first idea group, I do have two idea groups that I recommend. Either a mill idea group, and that could be offensive, quality, or quantity, or if you don't feel like you need to open up with a mill idea group, you can open up with trade. Quantity isn't that good anymore, and the policies aren't that good either, and we don't really need all that manpower. So what I recommend is either quality or offensive. It's honestly up to you. They're both really good. We will be using our navies as well, so quality is going to be useful. So it's totally up to you which of these two you choose. Both of them will help you out. In my case right here, I am going to go with offensive because I do want that siege ability, discipline, and good generals. You should already be focusing on mill. Now that I've ended my war with Herzegovina, I'll also be full annexing them. You'll be doing this with any small Balkan nation that you're fighting. Once you've cleaned up everyone that you can, it's time to chill, focus on building up your nation economically, annexing a few of your subjects that you don't need to have around anymore, like Epirus and Athens, and then getting ready for our second war with the Ottomans. Once 10 years have passed and you have enough relations with Athens, you can go ahead and annex them immediately because we do start off with a core on them. Make sure to give the nobility integration policy, however, so you don't lose any diplorep. And just like that, I'm gonna start annexing Athens, and as soon as the month takes over, they don't exist anymore. Awesome. Once you do that, you'll get this nice little flavor event. And now we have our third monument. Speaking of third monuments, we also start off with two at the start, the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, which is at tier 2. It gives us tolerance to the true faith, tolerance of heretics, yearly patriarch authority, clergy loyalty. At tier 3, it is pretty good. We are going to want to upgrade it. And then we have the Sultan Ahmet Mosque, which isn't built yet, and we can't use it because we're not Muslim. I still have a truce with the Ottomans in my case, so I am still going to continue to clean up some of the minor Balkan nations. In my case right here, I'm going to declare on Corfu. They exist because Austria made Venice release them. So this is a nice little opportunity to nab a nice little province. Very easy and very simple. And just like that, I'll full annex Corfu. Once it gets to around the 1460s, your truce with the Ottomans should have expired, of course if you didn't reset it by fighting a nation they guarantee, and it is time for our second war versus the Ottomans. Now this is once again going to be easy at this point. You're also going to have help from some of your allies. In my case, Austria, which has Hungary as well, will help me, so it should be pretty simple. Of course, the Ottomans have gotten themselves a few more allies, but that's not a problem at all. Once again, you're going to put your fleet in the Sea of Marmara, and you should be able to easily beat the Ottomans once again. However, something you do want to watch out for in this second war is where the Ottoman army is. Now, the Ottomans just fought Albania again in my case, and I know that they have about 28k standing right here in Albania. So that's why I've taken my army up here. I'm gonna wait for Austria and Hungary to come down and help me before I move with sieging, because I don't want my army to get beaten up when I fight the Ottomans. So be careful with their army placement. That's really the only thing you need to watch out for. In the second war, we're once again gonna declare a reconquest, this time for Edirne, their capital. So go ahead and declare for that, and call in your allies, and start your second war with the Ottomans. In this second war, you can definitely very easily go and beat them down in Anatolia and full occupy them. And once you completely crush the Ottomans in your second war, here's what I recommend taking. Of course, you are gonna get these two provinces right here back, which are your cores. I do also recommend giving Bulgaria all of their cores back, and then once you do that, everything else that you take is up to you. What I recommend doing is taking stuff in the Balkans if you can, but if you can't, you can take some of these coastal provinces right here. In my case, I'm gonna take these islands right here that Venice originally owned, but the Ottomans took from them, and I'm also gonna take all of Albania. I'll leave these provinces for later and for when we push into Anatolia. And obviously, I'm gonna take 114 ducats. And that's your second war with the Ottomans done. By this point, you may have completely pushed them out of the Balkans, but the most important thing we did in this war is take back these two cores, including their capital, along with every Bulgarian core. And I actually took this for myself by accident. I am gonna give it back to Bulgaria. Now it's once again time to chill, and at this point, we may look for other big rivals that we could fight, such as Venice. And by the way, I'm not fighting Naples, I'm just helping Aragon. Once you've given everything back to Bulgaria, you can go ahead and start annexing them. And after you're done with your second war with the Ottomans, they should be weak enough to where other nations will start declaring on them. Now this is as good as it isn't. Of course, you will have to fight someone even more powerful like the Mamluks, but at least the Ottomans won't be a problem. For your tier 3 government reform, I recommend taking expanded royal court. This will help us blaze through other reforms faster. I just helped out Austria in a war versus Venice, and they gave me this province, a province I was gonna take either way, so that's pretty nice. While we're waiting to fight our third war versus the Ottomans, like I said, continue to clean up some of the smaller Balkan guys, or if you're feeling strong enough and if your allies will help you out, you could even fight Venice or Genoa. Like we see here in my case, Venice isn't really an option since they're not really present in the provinces that I want to take, so I'm simply going to declare on Crete right here that got popped out of Venice earlier because they don't have any allies. After this, I'll probably move on Genoa and the Knights. And after that, well, it might be time to fight the Ottomans again. Take any opportunity that you can. It doesn't really matter what you do in between the Ottoman wars as long as you're building up your nation economically and fighting wars to take out smaller nations. Of course, you should have built a couple of buildings by this point. As we can see right here, I got some marketplaces in the center of trade provinces, and I've also bumped these two up to level 2 centers of trade. I've also constructed a couple of workshops in the high value trade good provinces, and of course I did this way earlier. I've bumped this province up to 10 development in production, which means we're making a nice income from gold. Of course, I did forget to say, but you should do this as well. Once you're done fighting the Ottomans in the first war, put this merchant back to Aleppo to transfer to Constantinople. I did forget to mention that something like this may happen during your campaigns as well. It's happened quite a lot to me, where Byzantine separatists will actually rise up in one of these two Genoese provinces right here, or they could even rise up in the Knights. So you could get one of these three provinces right here for free. I might just get Lesbos right here because Byzantine separatists have risen up, and if Genoa doesn't come to fight them, well, this province is mine. You're most likely gonna see this happen with Rhodes though. Now that I've defeated Crete, of course I will be full annexing them. Now in your case, you probably won't be fighting small releasable nations like this. You'll be fighting Venice proper at their peak, and when you do fight Venice, of course you are gonna want to take the small island provinces that they own over here and then take whatever they own on this coast, such as this province right here and some of these. Basically, anything south of Istria right here that Venice owns, you can go ahead and take in your first war. We'll be expanding in Italy later. At this point, I've also started annexing Epirus because they are just one province. For your naval doctrine, in the early game, galley combat ability will help you out quite a lot, especially when fighting the Ottomans. Of course, you won't be taking this before your first war with the Ottomans, but you might still want to use it for when you fight the Mamluks or the Italian nations or even France and Spain later on if you're going for the Roman Empire. If you're not that interested in naval combat, I do recommend going with ship trade power and protecting trade in some of the nodes right here, but galley combat ability is what I think is the best. Now, even though I have my own separatists on these two Genoese provinces, I will still be declaring war on them to take these provinces just because they're allied to France, but France won't defend them right now. So I do have to take advantage of this situation. So I'll be declaring on Genoa. Like I said, while we're waiting for truces with the Ottomans, try picking off any smaller nations, fighting easy fights, and generally building up your nation. In this war with Genoa, I'm only going to be going for these provinces right here. However, this right here is also a very nice opportunity to start expanding in the Pontic Steppe. And if you're going for the Mare Nostrum achievement, it does require you to own these provinces as well, I think. So if Genoa has something over here and if you're fighting them, that's a great opportunity to open up another route of expansion. If you also have the Purple Phoenix DLC, you'll be able to take some of these Triumph for place name decisions that give you prestige and army traditions. There's one for Greece, Inner Anatolia, the Anatolian coast, and the Balkans. I'm gonna take the one for Greece right now. And now that my war with Genoa is done, and because this is the only thing I want, I am gonna piece them out and take some war reps as well. I made Lucca Orthodox. When I piece them out, I think that's pretty funny, and I'm also gonna take money. I'm not taking stuff right here because you may not have this opportunity in your games, and this isn't really a region that we're focusing on in the early game. So I'm not taking provinces right here to simulate the fact that, well, Genoa probably isn't gonna have provinces here in your campaign. And that's my war with Genoa done. Just cleaning up some minor provinces. Still waiting for the truce with the Ottomans for our third war, and it's gonna be up in about 4 years. For your second idea group as Byzantium, I recommend taking religious ideas. Like I said in my Muscovy guide, not taking religious as an Orthodox nation is pretty much a crime. There aren't that many Orthodox provinces we really plan on expanding in. It's pretty much all Catholic and Sunni, so Orthodox is definitely a must. It does have very nice policies with offensive as well, and all the missionaries and missionary strength and prestige is going to help us out a lot. So religious for your second idea group. After you take religious, you can defocus from mill. And just like that, I've also annexed Bulgaria. By around the 1490s, you should have done it as well. Now that my truce with the Knights is up, I'll actually go ahead and declare on them. I'll fight Venice as well, but this is going to be easy. I'll call on Austria to help. And I pieced out Venice, and now that I've defeated the Knights, of course I will be full annexing them. You should do the same with any small nation that you're fighting. As you do your conquest, you will unlock these initial missions that give you further claims. Nothing too special until we get lower down the mission tree. And now that my truce with the Ottomans is up once again, and once yours is up as well, it's time for your third war with the Ottomans, where after this, you'll make them basically an irrelevant nation. In this third war, after we've taken back all our cores, we're focusing on retaking anything that they have in the Balkans and focusing on taking as much as we can from the coast in Anatolia. So what I'm gonna do right here is simply declare for this province right here, call in Austria, and go to war. This is gonna be once again a very easy war. Like I said, make sure to always keep your fleet in the Sea of Marmara so the Ottomans can't cross. And this is something that I've never seen in any of my games. I know this is a guide and I don't really point out things like this, but Tunis is allied to Castile. I've never seen something like this. Interesting. And if you're wondering why I'm still fighting the Ottomans even though I've 100%ed them and they've given up, it's because I want to get Tunis's money and war reps. For your tier 4 government reform, I recommend taking grant land to the monasteries, mainly for that yearly patriarch authority. And once you defeat the Ottomans in your third war against them, this is what I recommend taking. Like I said, focus on taking everything that they have left over in the Balkans, maybe some things over here, maybe some islands. After that, you're going to want to get these two provinces, they're pretty important. And then, if they own these provinces right here, what I recommend is taking this province and this one right here, and then Ankara and this province right here. So these 4 provinces, and the reason for that you'll see soon. After that, you can take war reps and some money as well, and this is a little something what you should do with the Ottomans in your third war. Now, the reason we took such weird provinces right here is because we're going to releasing more subjects that we're going to be using their cores to reconquer. So after you take these 2 provinces right here specifically, you should release Karaman, boom, just like that. And I was gonna say Eretna, but I didn't know they were gonna pop out of here. So the idea is to release Karaman from this one province to reconquer these cores, and to release Eretna from this province to reconquer these highlighted cores. Don't make the same mistake I did. Take a different province like this one right here that you can't release Karaman from. So after that, you'll have 2 vassals that they can use a lot of their cores to reconquer pretty much all of Anatolia except the coast. And just like that, I've also triumphed for the Balkans. After you crush the Ottomans in your third war, you can delete some irrelevant forts like the one in Gallipoli or the one in Kocaeli if you want to. Make sure to promote Bulgarian and or Serbian after you got all these provinces. It is necessary in the early game. And by around the 1490s, your game should look a little something like this. Basically, we started off as Byzantium, and after our first war with Epirus, where we vassalized them, we got ready and took on the Ottomans, where we recovered most of our cores and released Bulgaria. After that, we pounced on some small Balkan nations, cleaned up the easiest nations that we could while waiting for our truce with the Ottomans to expire. After it expired, we took over everything that we could in the Balkans, while primarily taking back our cores and Bulgaria's cores. And after that, we waited for a truce again, once again fighting small Balkan nations that are left left over, and maybe Genoa and Venice to take their provinces over here in this region that we're interested in. And finally, after our final truce with the Ottomans ran out, we fought them for a final time, took some provinces in coastal Anatolia, and took some provinces to release some subjects in Anatolia that we can use to reconquer their cores as well. Of course, during all this time, you shouldn't have only been expanding. You should have devved up the gold mine over here up to 10 and focused on boosting up the economy in your nation. By this point, I've full stated everything, and autonomy is lowered to the max everywhere that it can be, and I've also been building a couple of buildings. You should have been doing the same. I've got marketplaces in all the center of trade provinces, and all my center of trade provinces are at least level 2, except for this one, which I forgot, and I'll do when I do get the money. Marketplaces aren't the only thing that I've built, and it's not the only thing that you should have built either. You should also construct workshops. I have workshops in all the high value trade good provinces, a couple of churches here and there, an army building here and there, and those are primarily the buildings you'll be building in the early game after switching to manufactories later. By this point, you should be the only power in the Balkans. You should have also fought Hungary if they weren't a subject under Austria like they are in my game. Maybe you could have fought Wallachia if they existed, but they do get conquered by Hungary or Poland pretty quickly in these latest patches, so that might be something you won't focus on at all since you don't really need these provinces, or something that you might want to focus on later. Of course, after this point, we'll continue to expand in the same directions we've already been expanding in, following our mission tree that gives us a bunch of claims on pretty much the entirety of the Roman Empire, or at least the eastern half. You'll continue to take over everything in the Balkans, you'll continue to push into Anatolia, and then in the Levant, and then pushing into Egypt, basically going like this, that way, and like this way. And you'll follow along with your claims until you get to some juicy missions later on. This one right here reestablished the theme system. You can take it once you take over all of Anatolia, and it gives you plus 25% national manpower until the end of the game. Another reason why we didn't need to take strength and noble privileges. And then later on, you can even restore the Pentarchy if you own all of these provinces, completed the previous missions, and converted Rome to Catholic. And basically every Catholic nation in Europe that likes you will flip to Orthodox. So that's a very powerful mission. If you missed this early on when I said it, I did convert Lucca to Orthodox. And that's pretty much the Byzantine mission tree, mostly claims and some nice buffs from certain missions later down the line. And of course, you'll go on to restore the borders of the Eastern Roman Empire. The regions that you want to focus on are the Balkans, Anatolia, the Mashriq, Egypt, the Maghreb, Iberia, France, Italy, some provinces in southern Germany right here, maybe all of it if you want to, the Low Countries, and later Britain, of course, if you are going for the Roman Empire. That decision will show up once you take Rome. By this point, this is what my army is looking like. I have 24 infantry, 4 cavalry. Of course, according to combat width, that is what you should be at as well. And I have 7 artillery. My army is drilling right now. We're up to about almost 20 professionalism, which is pretty good. This is my navy right now. 4 heavies, 21 galleys, and 11 transports. No lights just yet. I'll be getting them later. That isn't something I was focusing on in the early game. Constantinople is bumped up to 35 dev. Hagia Sophia at level 2, and I did start building the Parthenon. It is currently being built at tier 1, and you are going to want to build all of these great projects that we're going to conquer, like the Rilla monasteries. It's great for Orthodox nations. Definitely build up the Parthenon for advisor discounts, and the mausoleum at Halicarnassus is excellent as well. And then any other monument that you could take advantage of course, once you're fully loaded with ducats, you can go ahead and build them as well. For our first 2 idea groups, we took offensive and religious, and for your third idea group, you should take quality or offensive, depending on which one you didn't take for your first idea group, and then you can take trade. So offensive, religious, quality, trade, and after that, it's up to you. You can go quantity for some nice policies, you can go defensive for even stronger armies, but it's totally up to you for the second half of your idea groups. For your tier 5 government reform, you should take meritocratic recruitment. For tier 6, you should take royal decree. For tier 7, you should empower the burghers. For tier 8, you should take this one. For tier 9, divine rights is actually really strong as Byzantium, but you can also go for kingdom of the people or l'état c'est moi or regional representation. They're all really strong. And then for tier 10, once again, all of them are super strong, and you can take whichever one you want. And like I said, around the 1490s, your game should look a little something like this. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that I should do a guide on. If you want to watch me do stuff like this live, you can follow me on twitch.tv/TheRedHawkLive, and if you want to catch up on stuff from over there, you can subscribe to the second channel, link is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, it really helps out a lot, and if you want to see more guides like this or more U4 videos in general, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. And boys, consider subscribing, because I am trying to hit 100k subs before New Year, and maybe with your support, we can do it. And you can become a member today and join the Discord, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.